Alright, so how about that, eh? The Detroit Red Wings have done it again with yet another victory against the Blackhawks in the preseason. And fortunately for Wings hockey, this Blackhawks opponent did not feature Connor Bedard, who was so electric and so dangerous in the first game a few nights ago. This time, we had more so of like a prospect showcase, I feel. A lot of guys that I was interested in particular in watching. You had Landon Slaggert, Frank Nazar, Colton Dach. Oh, why the heck am I talking about the Blackhawks? Let's go over to the Wings. The biggest story of this game heading into it was the fact that Vladimir Tarasenko, the new free agent signee, joining his former teammate in Patty Kane, was gonna be suiting up and ready to go. And lo and behold, he scored himself a goal on the power play that I think will be inspiring a lot of Wings fans' hopes and dreams for this upcoming season. The Wings win 2-0 in a shutout, a dual shutout victory for both Alex Lyon and Cam Talbot. And this game, I'm happy to say I was actually able to watch in English. I wasn't forced to watch it through the Russian broadcast that was going on for whatever reason it was. But other than that, this is what we've all come to expect, a preseason game wherein the purpose of the game is for us to analyze and evaluate players on both teams. I can't speak too much for Chicago. A lot of their guys are younger, so a lot more mistakes, a lot more youthful hockey and kind of poor decision making, but at the same time, they proved a pretty reasonable opponent for a Wings team that's trying to get back onto its feet. Let's go over some of the goals here, or some of the goals. There were only 2 goals scored. First goal scored in the second period by one Christian Fischer. Similar to the Tyler Motte goal from a few days ago that got things going in that game, Christian Fischer is right there on the doorstep. It's Mo Seider who passes it into the middle. It goes off of Andrew Kopp and right over to Fischer, who is on the back door. He ends up backhanding it right through the Chicago Blackhawks goaltender. Almost exactly like the same Tyler Motte play, except Tyler Motte was on the opposite side. Net front presence, hardworking guy, getting to the dirty areas and putting in the garbage. Sometimes you just need a guy like that, and Fischer and Motte both provide that element. Nice to see Fischer going out there and scoring a goal himself here too. And then, later on in the second period, whilst the Wings were on a power play, you had yourselves a power play unit featuring JT Compher, Andrew Kopp, Vladimir Tarasenko, Moritz Seider, and eventually, Compher goes over to Kopp down low behind the goal line. Kopp goes right in front to Tarasenko, who is all alone by himself. One-time chance, he shoots, he scores. It's a beautiful power play goal for Vlad the Dad, and I think heading into the upcoming year, if Tarasenko can continue to put himself in dangerous areas, kind of elude defenses, especially on special teams, get by, slip through the cracks, and just hopefully find himself in good scoring opportunities, Tarasenko could easily get like 10 goals doing that, just that, this year. Add that onto the rest of his goal-scoring skill set, his ability to snipe it out from distance, to shoot on the rush, and to absolutely lock and load and find those tight spaces. There's a lot of goal-scoring potential here for Tarasenko. I could see him hitting 20-25 goals. Other than that, though, the rest of the game, I'd say, was pretty... I don't want to say it was, like, bad, but it wasn't the most exciting out there, and I think part of that has to do with the fact that the Blackhawks' opponent was so young and not really experienced. Meanwhile, the Red Wings had some guys that they were trying to showcase, trying to give some opportunities to. I'd say a lot of the older guys, the Tarasenkos, the Sherratts, the Andrew Kopps, and the Comphers, they played all right. They didn't need to play super amazing, out of this world fantastic to get by in this game. Their expertise and their experience really showcased itself well. Meanwhile, for the Wings' younger dudes, Jonathan Berggren had a really interesting game. I'd say that he actually played well, but the commentators were going out there and talking smack about Berggren every chance they got, which I did note was pretty interesting. William Wallander was somebody who stood out to me. He's got a really good ability to just kind of be in the right spot, and his mobility on defense is awesome. Antti Tuomisto, I thought, was awesome too. Really strong defender. I was a really big fan of how Antti Tuomisto continuously used his stick to disrupt a play and get his stick in between passing lanes. He was knocking pucks away and using his big reach in a really effective way. I liked that a lot out of him. And then you had yourselves a few other guys that also continued to impress. Amadeus Lombardi was getting in there. Nate Danielson had a few kind of brain fart moments, not really like bad moments, but there were a few chances, like on the empty net, for example, where Nate Danielson did kind of fumble it away. It was a little bit sloppy on his behalf. I'd say maybe the game entirely was a little bit sloppy, although you could say that for Danielson, he didn't really have the best support around him when you think about the lines. Either way, though, this was a pretty good game, all things considered, if you wanted to talk about the Wings controlling play and having the better showcase. And then in net, oh man, you cannot go wrong with Alex Lyon and Cam Talbot. These guys both shut the door. They had really good performances. Of course, nobody let in a single goal, so the Red Wings came out on top in a pretty big way. Meanwhile, it was Arvid Soderblom in Chicago who ended up getting the entire game here. He let in only 2 on 31 shots against, so he played pretty well, honestly. Not gonna talk smack about Arvid Soderblom, Elmer's brother, of course, in this capacity here. His team is Chicago, so you can't really go out there and expect him to continuously put up wins. But either way, the Red Wings played off against the Hawks. They won 2-0. And I guess really the biggest takeaway for me is that Vladimir Tarasenko was here, and he's going to be locked and loaded and ready to go. That, of course, is super exciting, and I think for many Detroit Red Wings fans, you got to start trying to place the over-under. How many goals do you think Tarasenko is going to be able to put in this season? And where exactly does he fit in on the power play? Because this unit was with Seider, it was with Kopp, it was with Comfer, it was a bunch of other guys, right? Is this a first unit power play guy in Tarasenko? You think about DeBrincat, Kane, Larkin, okay, those are the 3 guys up front. You also have Lucas Raymond, and then you have Erik Gustafsson. So the 3 former Chicago Blackhawks, and then Raymond and Larkin. Is that kind of where you want to go? Do you want to force Tarasenko and Seider onto a second unit there? Or would you want to try to mix and match things a little bit? Maybe give Seider some reps on power play 1? Or do you want to have Tarasenko and Kane playing together, get that New York connection back in there? Where do you go with Alex DeBrincat? Do you put DeBrincat and Raymond together, maybe with Comfer or something? There are a whole bunch of blenders that you can put these lines through and have feasible results on the opposite side. So at the end of the day, I think if Tarasenko is able to continuously put the biscuit in the basket, score more goals, finish off the preseason with maybe 2 or 3 more goals and a few assists here and there, maybe there'll be no choice but for Derek Lalonde to place Tarasenko on that first unit alongside of Patty Kane, alongside of Raymond Larkin, and then the defenseman Erik Gustafsson. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of Kane and DeBrincat together, though, so I don't really know if I'd want to break that up. Look, I'm kind of happy that I don't have to make these decisions as the coach of the Detroit Red Wings, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section either way. How do you feel about today's game against the Chicago Blackhawks? Detroit wins 2-0. I hope you enjoyed this Fischer 9, and bye.